Welcome to Worldview from WBEZ. I'm Jerome McDonald. Last week, the Obama administration moved to cut carbon emissions at U.S. power plants. But soon, a perhaps more amazing carbon reduction effort takes place. Hundreds of workplaces are about to get together and get their employees to bike to work at the Bike Commuter Challenge. They'll cut carbon, save money, and improve their health. Today on Worldview, we'll talk with people who are the tip of the spear in making your community more sustainable and livable. Stay with us. For the past 6 years, WBEZ has been a powerhouse in the Bike Commuter Challenge. It's where businesses compete to get the highest percentage of bike riders over the course of the week. WBEZ is a powerhouse because we don't win anymore. We've come in second the last 5 years. I am the Leo DeRocher of the Bike Commuter Challenge. Today, we're going to talk about the Bike Commuter Challenge and the changes that are taking place across the country to get people out of their cars. And with us are a bunch of my co-conspirators in the Bike Commuter Challenge who I've gotten to know over the years. And Brian Morrissey is with the Active Transportation Alliance. They are Chicago's voice for better biking, walking, transport. They sponsor Bike the Drive. Brian was just working on that. And they do the Bike Commuter Challenge as well. Thank you for doing everything you do to make our community better.
You're welcome, Jerome. Thanks for having me on.
So where does Chicago stand in this whole morass of biking advocacy thing? Because sometimes I read stuff and it seems like we're pretty far behind. And then sometimes I read some really good things. But there's cities out there like Portland and Minneapolis who have huge percentages of riders every day.
Well, Minneapolis and Portland have been ahead of the curve culturally. They've just had that riding culture sort of on the western side of the country and that left coast. Chicago, has typically been a Rust Belt city, but in recent years, our infrastructure and our roads have really lent themselves to bike commuting. And as you know, 120 years ago, Chicago was the biking capital of the universe. Over 300 different bikes were made in here, and the Good Roads movement towards paving roads so cyclists could ride began here in Chicago. So it's kind of what comes around goes around. And now, when you hear how Chicago ranks, compared to Minneapolis or Portland or Copenhagen or New York, in the U.S., we're probably about maybe fifth, sixth most friendly. At one point, I think earlier in the decade, we were ranked the most friendly, and we dropped quite a bit. And now we're coming back with infrastructure and bike sharing and just the culture is catching up.
And we'll be happy to take phone calls from bikers and car commuters who hate bikers. We can take you on. The number to call is 312-923-9239. And we're talking about bikes, the Bike Commuter Challenge. Some of our competitors might want to call in. Now, all right, so we're doing pretty good. The thing that is changing everything is Divvy right now. I got to tell you, as somebody who rides through the loop every day, we are going to swing over to one of my nemesises in the previous nemesis, really. And Sarah Dandelis is with the Old Town School of Folk Music. They were the champions back in 2010. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jerome. Thanks. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Good.
Well, Sarah, do you think Divvy changes your situation there at Old Town?
We've got a Divvy station really close at the Sulzer Library to our Lincoln location, so I'm crossing my fingers this year that Divvy will help.
Now, Sarah, we've stolen from you every good idea you have to try to motivate people to ride their bikes. You had your own loaner bike, your folk loaner bike. I stole that idea. I got working bikes to come over, and they're here again to help me out, and they're tuning up bikes in the shop. And Marie Ackerman is here from Working Bikes. Hey, Marie.
Hello.
And so we're all looking for ways to motivate. But I think I've got one, Sarah, that is going to really change the game here.
Okay, share.
Do you believe in the power of art to change things, to change people, to motivate them?
Yes.
That's a good answer because you're at one of the leading art institutions in the city, Sarah.
Absolutely.
So I got it together. I got it into my head that, you know what? Dioramas is what we need. dioramas that capture the joy of biking. We can make them with shoe boxes. We can recall great moments in our Bike to Work Week challenge. And I actually have made one that recalls our competition together, and it recalls the great year in 2011 when we got 39% and you got 32%.
That wasn't the great year. The great year was 2010, Jerome, when we won.
But that was a total shock. That was the year I remember as a total shock. So I've got like the percentages up here on the diorama. I got a skyline. I've got happy BEZ employees beating your brains out.
And an upside-down Facebook like with boo next to it.
Yeah, boo Old Town. Thumbs down.
We're peaceniks over here, so we're not into that diorama.
But think of if you had dioramas, you would maybe get up to our level, because I've got another one, and it says, "I bike, therefore I am." And
it's destroyed.
We got a nice little person in there biking. I had a party and rallied the station to do dioramas together. Now, I was the only one who came, but I think that the art still has the power to change people.
I think biking has the power to change people. So, do you have any ways to actually get people on bikes, Jerome? Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for new ideas this year.
You're looking for new ideas, and I've got diorama. Make some dioramas. You can have little people with banjos on the back. You can do all sorts of fun stuff.
My daughter has a Polly Pocket with a bike that one of you can borrow.
You're listening to Worldview. Idel, you're on WBEZ.
Hi, I live in Old Town. I'm very much in favor of biking, though I don't do it myself. But I'm very concerned as a driver that the bike riders don't comply with the traffic laws. They don't stop at stop signs, and they don't stay in their lane, and sometimes they swerve in front of you. If we could depend on the bikers to comply with the rules, I think everybody would be so much safer.
Brian?
First I want to observe that, yes, everybody disobeys traffic laws. People in cars, people on bikes. And I think that as more infrastructure rolls out for cycling and gives cyclists a sense of space, they will be more predictable. They will ride more predictably.
I've got to tell you, the bike lanes going down the middle of the loop have made a more predictable rules-based situation.
Now,
and I think people are following. You've got to follow the rules when you're going down the Dearborn.
If you want a measurable stat, they measured, before those lanes went in and those little bike traffic signals.
Right.
And after they went in, the number of bicyclists who stopped for red lights went up something like 150%.
And one of the things I've always noticed as a biker is that, like, at every light, at every change of light, almost somebody breaks some kind of law. There is some kind of law breaking going on, be it a pedestrian or a vehicle or a bike. And sometimes bikes break it pretty egregiously, but there's all sorts of rule breaking going on, and we need a better system for everybody to follow rules that make us safe. And I think right now the streets are really kind of designed to prioritize fast-moving, dangerous 3,000-pound steel vehicles. And when you create a landscape known as complete streets that accommodates equally pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicles, that they can occupy the same space, separated, but still at the same time safely, I think those observations of rule breaking and, the sort of scofflaw will ultimately keep decreasing. Jonathan, you have a lot of experience with this in Rosemont.
As a suburban commuter, we obviously encourage all of our employees to be safe out there.
And Brian, there's an insane amount of beer drinking going on at the Bike Commuter Challenge this time around.
We love Revolution Brewing. Usually you have these little morning events where you hand out stuff, and you at places where people are biking or congregating bike racks, and now you've got evening events where people can go after work, after they've ridden their bike, and go hang out with fellow bikers. Yes. So as we've always done in the past, we have called them bike pit stops. in the past. This year, they're bike celebrations. I think that's just kind of indicative of how the culture is just getting more and more inclusive.
More into craft beer.
Yes, and more into craft beer. So you can come and get free dark matter coffee in the morning. At any of our pit stops, you can find those on the website at bikecommuterchallenge.org. And then you can also find a number of evening events, both in the city and the suburbs. Those are all listed on the website. And then I think on June 20th, I haven't looked, but we'll be at Revolution Brewing.
Sounds great. Let's take another phone call from somebody. Hello, you're on WBEZ. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, you're on.
Oh, okay. Hi. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for having this great program on biking.
You're welcome.
Important, but I have a few quick comments. One, I'd say that we need a little better infrastructure for biking, especially on the lakefront bike path. It's really hard for people who are relaxing and walking to have bikes whizzing past them. So that bike path really should be widened. I spend part of the year in Minneapolis, and they're really a big biking city. They have really good separated bike and walking paths, and I think we could use more of that. And also,
we're still looking for our first curbed bike situation, right? We don't have a curbed lane in the city yet.
Oh, no, not yet. We're working on it.
I have a great idea to have a covered bike path along the lakefront so that people could ride in bad weather. Partially covered, protected from the wind and so on.
We'll get our development director on that immediately.
Okay.
That sounds like fun. Now, we are in the midst of an enormous construction project here at the base of Navy Pier called the Navy Pier Flyover, which is going to help make the most dangerous part of the bike path safer, hopefully. It's going to elevate it over Illinois and Grand Avenues, where there's a lot of stuff going on.
Pedestrian conflicts, truck conflicts.
I'm looking forward to it. It will be great. Right now, it's crazy out there at the construction. It's going to be 2 years. Okay. But right now, the construction is crazy. There is a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Now, there's also the North Lakeshore Drive vision. My coworkers are going to kill me because I can't remember the exact name of it. But we are leading the public outreach on this along with the city in terms of, addressing this very concern about a very crowded lakefront trail space for pedestrians and cyclists. And ultimately, that ideal vision is to separate, the faster bicycle traffic from the more leisurely traffic and the walking and with the strollers and the dogs and what have you, and then sort of restoring the boulevard-like nature that the lakefront roadway used to be.
Explain what kind of engineers you are.
We are village engineers for a lot of municipalities throughout the 6 counties, and we also would do a lot of work for state highways. So as users, as cyclists, we become better designers. We know what to look for in the design of and we are involved in that Lakeshore Drive project that Brian mentioned, and we're able to bring a lot of good ideas to the table of personally what we think works and doesn't work.
Well, it is an incredible thing. Where does the leadership come from in an organization to do something like that? Because a lot of us are just kind of team leaders and we rally people, but there's not an infrastructural support.
It comes right from the top at the Burke Group. Chris Burke will ride his bike during Bike to Work week, and he lives in Naperville. We'll send out a couple of interns to make sure he gets to work safely, and if he has a flat tire, we have someone there to change it for him. Mike Kerr is the executive vice president of the company. He will routinely ride the most miles of any of us. He rides from Evanston to Rosemont on a daily basis, so it comes from the top down. Chris Burke drives an electric vehicle to work almost every day. And they keep coming back to us as the user saying, what can we do to help you guys? What do you guys need to increase the number of employees who are on the bikes? We'll give them ideas, and they will implement them.
In addition to the carbon reduction and the corporate social responsibility angle, there is just the bottom line. There is another company in Minneapolis, Quality Bike Parts, They recently made some pretty big news in 2012 at the League Bike Summit in D.C. by realizing almost a 4-to-1 ratio return on investment with they pay their employees $3 a day to bike to work as part of a larger wellness program. Their overall healthcare premium, that the enterprise pays has declined on an average of I think 4% a year over the 3-year study that their bike program was studied. They saved I think $200,000 on a $140,000 investment of just the outgoing funds to pay the employees, and then the enterprise saved another $900,000 over that 3 years for productivity, recruitment and retention, attrition for people leaving, less absenteeism, that kind of thing. And then I think the people that were involved in the wellness program overall saved cumulative $600,000 out of pocket.
Boy, that makes a lot of sense there.
We're definitely seeing a healthier workforce. A lot of employees who were not on board a couple of years ago have started doing it, and they will come to us and say, I feel better in the office. I'm not as irritated as I am as when I drive my vehicle.
Our perpetual nemesis and the eternal champion of our division of the Bike Commuter Challenge is on the phone with us, Andrew Canassi. He is with the Center for Neighborhood Technology. He's with their Elevate Energy division. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing real well, Jerome. Thanks for having me.
Now, you guys normally get in the 90-95 percentile range. Last year, you slacked off at 80% of your workers, and I hear they fired you as team leader.
Oh, fired me as team leader. Well, no, I think the more correct way to put it is that at Elevate Energy and the Center for Neighborhood Technology, we take a real team-based approach to the Bike Commuter Challenge, and really it wouldn't be possible through the efforts of just one team leader, but rather a committee that focuses on mobilizing and motivating all of our colleagues to ride to work.
Andrew, this year I am making dioramas to inspire people to ride to work with shoeboxes, and I've got the time we beat Old Town. I've got people who bike for therefore they are, this kind of thing. And I think that's going to put us over the top this year. I guess you're feeling intimidated.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, could you refresh my memory? Was it like 50-some-odd percent that WBEZ managed to pull in? I mean, it's good to get more than half, but, once you start scraping the 80-90%, I think we'll be right back where we were just a few years ago. We'll be ready to go. We've got a motivated team, and for our organization as well, the Bike Commuter Challenge is a great opportunity to demonstrate our mission, which is really focused on urban sustainability issues. And so, since transportation is such a huge focus for us, we have people who are already inclined to be biking to work and be encouraging others to do the same. So I think we'll really be right back where we were just a few short years ago.
And the Center for Neighborhood Technology, your division of it is Elevate Energy now. You changed your name a little bit.
That's correct. Yeah, we changed our name a few months ago now. We used to be CNT Energy.
Hey, that doesn't sound good. You're kind of breaking up there, Andrew.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I think we'll let you go. Maybe we can catch you before we go, but we're going to kind of zoom into the wrap-up. Andrew Canassi is with the Center for Neighborhood Technology. They are the perennial winners of our division since they moved in. Well, our WBEZ did win once in 2009. Then the Old Town School won in 2010. And then the Center for Neighborhood Technology has won ever since because they moved up into our division because of the number of employees. How many times have they won in a row? About 12 or something?
I think last year was 12 in a row.
That is disgusting. I think they should drop out or should have some other division for them.
We'll create a rule. It'll be the CNT rule.
Who are some of the other teams that do well, that are impressive to you as you've overseen this thing over the last few years?
Some of the bigger teams, what's really hard is to win at the 500-plus level. Groupon, Orbitz, they have been some winners over the past couple years. Museum of the Field Museum, Mighty Bites, Studio Gang, There were actually
They were up there at 90%.
100% last year.
The architects are really good at this.
100% last year. They were the only company I've ever seen in a division below above 25 that had 100%. Jean Gang, before the challenge begins, she brings every employee in and says to them, with a very scary face, you have absolutely no excuse not to ride your bike during the Bike Commuter Challenge.
Yeah, that's what I do. And then I show them a diorama, and then I get 50%.